My dear students, today we are going to start the last topic of surface chemistry, that is properties of colloidal solution. Here we already know about the properties, then also we are going to discuss few of the property that already we know and few of the property that we are going to know or introduce now. So first property, that is the heterogeneous nature of colloidal solution. We know that colloidal solution, here all the property is based on the size of the particles which is present in the colloids. Actually these colloids, it is a state, it is not a substance. That's why here it depends on the size of the particle where it is soluble or not. So here we can take example for colloidal solution, that is blood, milk. These are the example of colloids. This solution looks like homogeneous, but actually they are heterogeneous, because here the particle of the colloids, they have the tendency to scatter the beam of light, and the path of the beam of light can be visible. That's why it shows it is heterogeneous in nature, but it looks like homogeneous. Okay, second property, that is called to be as colligative property of colloids. Colligative property, actually it is a property which depends on the number of solute particle but not on the nature of solute particle. So here, due to the high average molecular masses of colloidal particles, they show low value of colligative properties like relative levering of vapor pressure, elevation in boiling point, depression in freezing point, and osmotic pressure. These colligative property already we have discussed in chapter second, that is solutions. Okay, next property, that is filterability, means filter, whether it can be filter or it can pass through the filter paper or not. So whenever we are passing this type of colloidal solution through the filter paper, so here the size of the colloidal particle is less than the pores of the filter paper. That's why it can easily pass through the filter paper. But when we want to filter or pass it through the parchment membrane, it cannot pass, because the parchment membrane and the size of parchment membrane is very small than the size of the particle of colloids. That's why it cannot pass through the parchment membrane. Okay, next property, that is the optical property, that is Tyndall effect. Again we need to know the meaning of Tyndall effect. So Tyndall effect, it is a effect which shows, means the particle of the colloids, whether whenever we are keeping this colloidal solution in a dark room, we are placing in a dark room and we let the light to pass through it. So sometime, because of the bigger size, here the size of the colloidal particle is what, between 1 nanometer to 100 nanometer. So these particles may have the tendency to scatter the beam of light, and this light can be seen. So if the colloidal particle scatter the beam of light, it means it shows Tyndall effect, and the path which can be seen is called to be as Tyndall cone. Next property, that is mechanical property. Mechanical means movement. Here we know that whatever the particles which are present inside any of the substance, they have the tendency to move, means motion. Because of this movement, here movement can take place because of the collision between the particle which are present in any of the matter or in any of the substance. So when they collide with one another, they move in a zigzag manner. This zigzag movement of the particles of any substance or solution is called to be as Brownian motion. Okay, sometime it may also be asked that why it shows zigzag motion. So because of the scattering of number of particles with one another, they scatter, or because of the collision between two particles or number of particles, there is collision takes place, or because of this collision they moves in a zigzag manner. Okay, next is diffusion. Diffusion is what, intermixing of two substance. So here in case of colloidal solution, here diffusion takes place from a region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. Okay, next is sedimentation. Sedimentation, it is a property in which settling down of any of the bigger molecule or bigger particles takes place. So here once again, because means the size of the particle is not as much bigger, because if the size of particle will be bigger, then go to the category of suspension, but here it is not as much big. So sometime it may happen that they simply float or they simply move from one to another. They do not settle down at the bottom, they simply move or scatter into the solution. But this can be sedimented by the process of centrifugation or ultracentrifugation. So what do you mean by centrifugation? Here the solution is to be rotated at very high speed, and because of the high speed rotation, the particles which are having gravity or more weight, they simply settle down at the bottom, and the substance which are having less weight, they simply comes above the over the surface. Okay, that is called to be a centrifugation, and here the particles can be separated by the process of centrifugation. Now charge on colloidal particle. Charge, we also have studied that colloidal particles, they have charges, but two types of colloids we have discussed, that is lyophilic colloids and lyophobic colloids. Lyophilic colloids, they are neutral in nature, but lyophobic colloids, they are having some charge. They may be positive charge and they may be negative charge. So here one question is asked, that how do these colloidal particles they acquire charge? So many of the theories came to prove that these are having charge, and this is the reason of the charge. First theory that comes to clear or to prove that the colloidal particle is having charge, it is because of the friction. Due to the friction, because number of particles are present in the solution, that's why they collide with each other. Because of the collision, friction generated, and because of this friction, they acquire some of the charges. But here this theory will not be accepted, because if it is generated because of the friction is generated, then these are having both the type of charge, then how do they have acquire both the charges, means negative and positive both. Second concept that comes to prove that to give the reason that these colloidal particles are having charge, that is due to the adsorption process. So adsorption process is what, in which adsorption takes place over the surface only. So here this theory is also not accepted, because the colloidal particles are having charge throughout the substance, mean into the bulk also. But here if the adsorption process takes place, then the charge should be present only over the surface, not on the bulk. But here this charge is present throughout the solution. Okay, so that's why this theory is also not accepted. Then again one more theory came, that is somewhat correct, that is because of the addition of electrolyte. Whenever we are adding some type of electrolyte into the solution or colloidal solution, here the same charges, like if we will be having a ferric hydroxide solution of ferric hydroxide, and here we are adding ferric chloride as an electrolyte. So here we have ferric as common. So because of the positive charge of the ferric, they combine with each other and formation of charges takes place. Okay, so because of the addition of some of the electrolyte, here colloidal particles they acquire charges, and this theory is taken as the correct concept to tell us the charge on colloidal particle. Next is the electrical property. Electrical property means whenever we are passing electric current through the colloidal solution, that what does happens. So here first that is called to be as electrophoresis. So what do you mean by electrophoresis? First we people have to know. So in the electrophoresis, actually what has happened, whenever we are passing the electric current throughout the colloidal solution, here the solution, it may be either having positive charge or it may have negative charge. So here the particles start moving from one to another, because here we are going to give current from outside. That's why anode will be having positive charge and cathode would be having negative charge. So here the movement of particles takes place, that is the movement of solute particle, means dispersed phase takes place, and these dispersed phase move towards the opposite charge. Whatever the charges of the dispersed phase, means if it is of positive charge, then it start moving towards the cathode, because cathode it is having negative charge. So here the movement of the dispersed phase take place due to the passing or due to the electric current This is called to be as electrophoresis. So here we can define electrophoresis like here we have given the definition. Next process that is called to be as electroosmosis. What do you mean by electroosmosis? So electroosmosis, it is a process in which we are again passing electric current, but here we are putting one parchment membrane, because osmosis is what? Osmosis, it is a process in which the passage of only solvent molecule takes place, but not the solute. So here solute is not going to move from one place to another place. That's why here we are putting one parchment membrane, and again whenever we are passing electric current to the solution, here what happen? Here this solvent particles start moving towards the opposite side charges. Okay, that is called to be as electroosmosis. These are the various properties of colloidal solution. Next we have coagulation of colloidal solution. What do you mean by coagulation? So coagulation, we can define it as that aggregation of the particles of colloids. Here we know that this aggregation can take place only because of the addition of electrolyte. If we are not adding electrolyte, then the coagulation cannot take place. Okay, so coagulation of colloidal solution can be defined as the precipitation of colloids through induced aggregation by the addition of some suitable electrolyte is called as coagulation or flocculation. This coagulation can take place only by the addition of excess of electrolyte. Whenever we are adding excess of electrolyte, what has happened is, again because of the same charges, these colloid particles, they get combined with the electrolyte, and then they aggregate together, and the big molecules is going to form, and then because of the formation of big molecules, they come under the category of suspension, and they start settling down. So here by this process we can destroy all the properties of colloids, because it can go under the category of suspension. But we cannot let the process to go like that, because we cannot destroy all the type of colloids, because blood is also colloid, milk is also colloid, or if we are destroying blood, then we cannot generate these type of blood once again. We cannot destroy whatever the thing present in the blood, like hemoglobins are there, plasma, platelets. We cannot make it as suspension, because if it settle down, then we can easily separate it from the blood, then it may lose the property of colloidal solution. That's why to prevent any of the colloidal solution to get coagulated, here we have one thing that is called to be that is called as prevention of coagulation. Okay, so how does we have the prevention of coagulation process? So prevention can be done by we know about the lyophilic and lyophobic. So lyophilic, it is highly stable type of solution, isn't it? So this lyophilic help lyophobic type of solution to get coagulated. Whenever we are adding lyophilic type of solution into lyophobic type of colloidal solution, it form a layer around the lyophobic, and it do not let the lyophobic to get precipitated or coagulated. Okay, so here we have one rule that is given by one scientist, that is called to be as Hardy's rules. These rules tell us for the how the coagulation to occurs. So first, for this rule, as the means introduction of electrolyte with opposite charges is must for the coagulation process. Without an electrolyte, coagulation would not take place. Means first, whenever we need to coagulate any of the substance in a colloidal solution, we have to add excess of electrolyte. This is the first thing for the coagulation. Second thing, greater the charges, greater is the coagulating power. Means more charges, like if we will be having aluminium 3 plus and barium 2 plus and sodium 1 positive charge. So aluminium 3 plus, because of the 3 positive charge, here it will coagulate. It has more coagulating power than as compared to the sodium. Third, for the coagulation process to occur, third thing, that is the coagulating power is measured in term of numerical or numeric value, that is called as coagulation value. So coagulating value is inversely proportional to the coagulating power. So as the coagulating value increases, coagulating power become decreases, means more charges will have less number of coagulating value. Okay, these are given by Hardy-Schulze. Like for aluminium 3 plus, here the value or coagulating value of this one is 0.093, and if we are comparing the value of this one with sodium, so sodium it is having one positive charge but the value is 51, that is more than aluminium is having 0.093 but sodium is having 51. This is the coagulating value, but the coagulating power of aluminium is more as compared to the sodium. So sometime question may be asked in your exam कि coagulating power of or coagulating value of this element is that much. So what would be the coagulating, which one is having more coagulating power? So the one which is having more number of charges will have more coagulating power, and the one which is having more number of coagulating value will have less number of coagulating power. Okay, so these are the rule that is called to be as Hardy-Schulze rule. Okay, this is given by one scientist that is called as Hardy-Schulze. Two scientists are there. So these are all about the coagulation. After that we have some applications of colloids around us, like whatever the color of the sky that we people are seeing, that is the blue color of the sky, or whatever the color or reflection we can see in the water, this is because of the scattering of the dust particle which is present over the atmosphere. Here when light falls into the dust particle which is present into the air, it is scatter the light into different color. Because of this one we are able to see the blue color of sky. Okay, now food articles like milk, butter, halwa, ice cream, fruit juices, they all are the colloids in one form or other. So these are the many application. Formation of delta, this is also very important question. How does delta form? Delta is formed in between the river or the sea. Wherever the river and sea, the water of the river and sea meets, delta is formed. So actually how this delta is formed? So because of the coagulation, actually what has happens, because sea water it has lots of electrolyte on that, and water it has lots of mud on that. So whenever the mixing of this sea water and river water takes place, here coagulation will takes place. So because of the coagulation, here delta is formed. Sometimes the question, 1 marks question may also be asked from this section. So please students kindly go through the application of this colloidal solution, because this is also very important. Don't think that question would not be asked from this section. You just go and see the question paper 2 or 3 times. The question may also be asked, means the question were asked from this section also. Okay, so don't leave any of the portion or any of the thing which is given in your NCERT book for this time portion. So with that we have completed this chapter. Thank you for hearing me. After this class, on the next class we will start next chapter or new chapter. Which chapter I am going to start, that let me see the portion, because still I am confused that whether solid state is there in your portion or not. So let me make it confirm, then I will start the chapter. Okay, so thank you so much for hearing me. For today we have this much only. Thank you.